Basketball fans around the world, including here in Western Mass, continue to mourn the sudden and tragic death of NBA legend Kobe Bryant. Thanks for joining us, everyone, on this Monday evening. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Beth Ward. We have team coverage beginning with Western Mass News reporter Caroline Powers. She is live at the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, where people are turning out to pay their respects since the news broke yesterday. Caroline?
This news is still very difficult to come to grips with, Chris and Beth. Many people, including Hall of Fame President John DeLeva, woke up this morning still in complete shock.
It's a sad day in basketball. He was a global icon.
The sudden and tragic death of basketball star Kobe Bryant has shook the world, including here in Springfield, the birthplace of basketball and home of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame.
He would be enshrined this summer. He was first eligible, and we'll begin our process this week, ironically, and we'll announce our finalists at the All-Star game, and then the Final Four will announce the actual class of 2020, but I fully expect he will be a unanimous choice of 24 voters, and that's kind of ironic because that's Kobe's numbers.
The devastating news has brought fans from near and far to the Hall of Fame on Monday, some with purple and gold flowers in hand, others proudly wearing Kobe and his 13-year-old daughter Gianna's jersey numbers. Jeffrey Adams and his son tell Western Mass News they will continue to keep that Mamba mentality.
Kobe Bryant stood out as one of the most phenomenal players ever. He did a lot for basketball and for women's basketball. You know, we didn't just lose a great player, he lost his child also. And I mean, that's why I brought my son with me today. This is my boy Jeffrey Adams also, a junior in Drury High School in North Adams, Massachusetts, and he's a basketball star too. And you know, I played my whole life. I love the sport.
And it's really hurtful because, like I said, I tried to model my game after that dude, and just seeing all the records he set and all the stuff he did, his 81-point game, me wanting to be like I'm playing in my room, like it's just crazy to hear about.
Started very young, played with intensity, hated to lose, but had played with such dignity and class. Always a champion, and he'll be sorely missed.
Sorely missed. He truly was a legend both on and off the court. Kobe Bryant and his 13-year-old daughter Gianna, along with 7 other victims, died in the crash. The others were coaches, athletes, and parents. The NTSB is still investigating. Live in Springfield, I'm Caroline Powers for Western Mass News.
Caroline, thank you for that live report. And we continue with our team coverage tonight. It has been a somber Monday for many who either knew the legend himself or were fans of him. Western Mass News reporter Kayla Burton tells us how one local high school honors Kobe Bryant after his sudden death.
Immediately, I thought it was fake. I was like, oh, this can't be real. Kobe Bryant died. Then I started seeing texts, tweets about it, so I was like, oh, this is for real. This is what I grew up watching. Started tearing up a little bit, too.
Many in disbelief of the shocking death of longtime NBA star Kobe Bryant. Springfield Central High School basketball players unable to comprehend how the player and figure they looked up to from the very beginning is gone.
I also thought it was fake, because like you wouldn't expect somebody that big for that to happen to them.
The long-running fan debate over Kobe versus LeBron came to a sudden pause. Head coach William Watson tells Western Mass News it's much bigger than a game.
Those talks now seem irrelevant, and it's like, why even waste energy always, pitting one person against another? Instead, maybe we probably should have spent more time just enjoying the man while he was here and enjoying everybody else that is still here.
Despite knowing Kobe on a personal level, the school made an announcement this morning over the loudspeaker, providing services to anyone who needs support. Principal Tad Tokar says growing up in Springfield, he knows there are students who have experienced loss before, and this loss may be just as heavy.
I know how important the stars are to our kids, and cleaning the cafeteria, you hear on a weekly basis who's better, LeBron or Kobe. This one was hard. For whatever reason, it was hard, and it's still hard. So, we just try to help everybody as much as we can.
In remembrance of the Black Mamba, head coach of the Golden Eagles will emphasize one particular message each time his players step onto this court.
The effort. the work ethic. If we're going to do anything to honor Kobe Bryant, that's what it's going to be.
As the Golden Eagles prepare for their game against Pope Francis Preparatory School Monday night, the boys say they'll make sure they're repping number 24.
From my fadeaway, post-away shot, from the post moves, just shooting, everything.
With the bond our whole team has, I think we all check up on each other every day, so it's like we're there for each other a lot.
In Springfield, Kayla Burton, Western Mass News.
Tough hearing that news coming out of California for sure. Our highs today reached into the upper 30s and low 40s. We hit 42 in Westfield and 43 degrees in Springfield. Still dealing with a few snow showers making their way through the Berkshires, but they've largely kind of dissipated into this evening. There may be some additional flurries, but no accumulations likely as this boundary pushes through. Leaves us with some breezy conditions heading into tomorrow. You can see the Hall of Fame there, bright and beautiful. The viaducts as you make the turnaround. Check out the sign. It has Kobe lit up nice and bright in remembrance of Kobe Bryant. 39 for our current temperature in Springfield, Palmer, and Westfield. 34 in Worthington and 39 degrees in Greenfield. Watch how as our skies clear as we head into tomorrow. We're expecting partly cloudy skies and then certainly into Wednesday. Wednesday definitely a very sunny day, even sunnier heading into Thursday. Our lows tomorrow as we head into the overnight back into the middle 20s, and tomorrow seeing the upper 30s for afternoon highs, about seasonable for this time of year. But we do have this nice dry stretch ahead. We'll look at that in just a few minutes. Beth and Chris.
Jacob, thanks. Now for a Western Mass News exclusive update on a story we've been following in Springfield for months.
A house on Bay Street that was reduced to rubble is being cleaned up after lying in a pile for a year and a half. Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo joins us live from Bay Street, getting answers on where that project stands now. Audrey?
Neighbors tell me they've been waiting for this property to be cleaned up ever since 1459 Bay Street was first demolished back in August of 2018. But in that time, those neighbors say that the pile has grown from people illegally dumping garbage on it and from infestations of rodents and insects. Now you can see the pile looks more like a pit, very different looking as how it's been in months past. These neighbors tell me they're ready for a clean slate and new development.
The only thing I have not gone on is on my knees to beg the city to clean this up with the last year and a half.
This resident, who didn't want to show her face on camera, tells Western Mass News she's been waiting for 1459 Bay Street to be cleaned up ever since the home was demolished in August of 2018. The city tore down the house when the chimney began collapsing, throwing bricks into neighboring yards, causing a threat to safety. But because city officials say the property owner was deceased, tracking down family members who would sign over the rights to the plot was a challenge.
We finally got through the court process of getting the property in control of a receiver. That took us quite a while.
Now a court-appointed receiver has taken control of the property, agreeing to clean up the rubble on a set schedule.
There is court agreements on when it should be done, but I believe their actually target date was to get it cleaned up this week.
And Springfield's Building and Code Enforcement Commissioner Steve Desilets says beautification of the cleaned up plot is required in the springtime.
If they don't move to develop it right away, then they'll be required to plant grass and smooth it over.
Which will be a welcome change, according to neighbors who say they've watched the property become less and less beautiful due to illegal dumping.
Then you would see buckets, you would see all sorts of stuff the next day. You would go to bed one night and the next day you would see it.
And invasions of rodents and insects.
Last summer, it was like an ant infestation in my kitchen.
Desilets says this is the first time the city has used a receivership for a house demolition and claims it will alleviate taxpayers from footing a $25,000 cleanup bill.
This is all done at the cost of the receiver, not the taxpayers. In normal process, this would have been the burden of the taxpayers to pay for this.
But with rising property taxes across Western Massachusetts, neighbors say they're still seeing their bill increase, something they say is unfair after spending more than a year living next to a pile of rubble.
This shouldn't happen, not to somebody who's living right next to the dumps.
Again, city officials do expect that all the cinder blocks and the garbage from this property should be cleaned up within 1 or 2 weeks. Live in Springfield, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
Audrey, thank you for that live report. A former Greenfield police sergeant is sentenced to 2.5 years in prison following a crash that killed a 29-year-old man back in 2017. The Northwestern DA's office tells Western Mass News that James Rode was found guilty of vehicular homicide today after the jury deliberated on the case for 2.5 hours. Rode was responding to a call of erratic driving when his cruiser slammed into the side of a car driven by James Arcelana. Rode was reportedly traveling 83 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. Along with prison time, the former officer also received a 15-year loss of his driver's license.
In West Springfield, that is, a 19-year-old Holyoke woman is under arrest following a chase. State police tell Western Mass News Lexiani Lopez was taken into custody. Shortly after 11 this morning, a trooper pulled over what appeared to be a disabled vehicle. The driver claimed she was out of gas. When the trooper began to walk back to his vehicle, the driver then drove off at a high rate of speed. Police say Lopez was found to have 4 outstanding warrants. She now faces a host of new charges, including failure to stop for police.